You already know what you should be doing, and you're not doing it. That's not a motivation problem, that's a character problem. Look at your life right now, honest, no filter. You have goals written somewhere, a note, a journal, a graveyard of abandoned apps. You told yourself this year would be different. It isn't. And deep down you already know the reason. It's not your schedule. It's not your environment. It's not the algorithm, the economy, or your childhood. It's you. Specifically, it's the part of you that keeps negotiating with weakness. The part that says, 5 more minutes. The part that rewards itself before earning anything. The part that confuses planning with progress. Machiavelli watched men destroy themselves for centuries. Princes, generals, men with every resource imaginable. He wrote about them with zero sympathy. You know what he concluded? Most men are not defeated by their enemies. They are defeated by their own softness. He called it failing to be cruel to oneself when cruelty is necessary. Not cruelty toward others, cruelty toward your own excuses, toward your own comfort addiction. You are living in a negotiated surrender. Every day you wake up and bargain with the weakest version of yourself and let it win. That ends today. Here is the reframe you need to hear. Discipline is not a feeling. It is not motivation. It is not inspiration. Discipline is a power structure, and right now, weakness holds the throne. Your failure to act is not a character flaw you were born with. It is a strategic error you keep choosing, and strategic errors can be corrected with the right intelligence. In the next 12 minutes, you will learn 5 principles drawn from Machiavelli, Stoic warfare, and modern behavioral psychology. Principle 1. Why your brain is actively sabotaging your discipline and how to outmaneuver it. Principle 2. The covert contract you made with weakness and how to break it surgically. Principle 3. Identity architecture, how lions think versus how prey think. Principle 4. The information asymmetry between who you are and who you perform being. Principle 5. The final strike, the daily protocol that makes discipline irrelevant. Stay until the end, because the 5th principle is the one nobody talks about. It removes the need for willpower entirely. Let's go. Principle 1. Your brain is not your ally. Here is a biological truth your comfort doesn't want you to know. Your brain is wired to conserve energy, full stop. It treats discipline as a threat. It interprets effortful action as danger. Every time you sit down to do hard work, your limbic system fires a quiet alarm. This is uncomfortable. This is unnecessary. Stop. This is not weakness. This is ancient hardware running in a modern arena. But here is where you made your mistake. You treated that alarm as truth. You felt resistance and called it a sign. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe this isn't for me. You gave the hyena inside your skull a seat at the table, and then you wondered why it kept eating your plans. Machiavelli wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." You have been neither. You have been the prey that philosophizes about the predator. Here is your tactical correction. Stop negotiating at the moment of resistance. The moment you feel the urge to delay, that is your cue, not to pause, but to move. Behavioral scientists call this the 2-minute commitment. Engage the task for exactly 2 minutes before your brain can mount a full defense. You are not overcoming resistance, you are outrunning it. Name the alarm. When avoidance hits, say out loud, "My brain is conserving energy." Not, "I'm lazy." Not, "I can't." Clinical language disrupts the emotional hijack. It creates distance between stimulus and response. Create a trigger environment. Remove optionality from your workspace. Wolves don't deliberate. They position themselves before the hunt begins. Your position, your environment, should make the hard thing the only available thing. Ask yourself this question: how many times this week did you let the alarm win? Count. Be honest. That number is your current power level. We're going to change it. Principle 2. The covert contract with weakness. You made a deal. You don't remember signing it, but it's binding. Here is what the contract says. I will pursue my goals, but only when I feel ready, only when conditions are right, only when it doesn't cost me comfort, certainty, or social approval. That is a covert contract, a secret agreement between you and your own avoidance. You perform ambition publicly, but privately, you have already negotiated the escape clause. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, holding two incompatible beliefs simultaneously. You believe you want discipline, and you believe comfort should be the default state. Both cannot be true. Machiavelli had no patience for this. He wrote that the prince who delays necessary action out of fear of discomfort will face far greater discomfort later, at a time not of his choosing. The debt compounds. Every day you defer the hard choice, the interest accrues. You are not saving yourself from pain. You are scheduling a larger pain invoice for your future self. Here is how you break the contract surgically. Write down the clause. What is your specific escape condition? I'll start when I have more time. I'll commit when I feel more confident. Write it down verbatim. Seeing it in print strips it of its camouflage. Issue a counter-contract. Write the new terms. I act before I feel ready. I perform the behavior first. The feeling follows. Neurologically, action creates motivation, not the reverse. The fox moves first. The feeling of readiness is the reward, not the prerequisite. Burn the comfort baseline. Choose one daily discomfort on purpose. Cold water, early rising, fasting, hard conversation. Not because suffering is virtuous, because it trains your nervous system to stop treating discomfort as an emergency. The warrior who practices controlled discomfort cannot be controlled by unexpected discomfort. The next principle is where identity comes in, and identity is the real battlefield. Principle 3. Identity architecture. Lions and prey. Here is the most dangerous question in this video. Who do you think you are? Not who you want to be, not who you post about being. Who do you actually believe you are when no one is watching and the streak is broken and the plan has collapsed again? Because that belief is your operating system. Everything else, your habits, your consistency, your follow-through, is just output. Software. The identity is the hardware. Right now, if you struggle with discipline, your identity hardware reads, I am someone who struggles with discipline. You have made a personality out of your failure pattern. Shadow integration, a concept Carl Jung identified long before performance culture weaponized it, means confronting the parts of yourself you have disowned, not to punish them, to understand them as information. The wolf who knows his own hunger does not panic at it, he uses it. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be impetuous than cautious, for fortune is a woman, and it is necessary to hold her down and beat her." Strip the metaphor. The meaning is precise. Fortune favors aggression. Identity favors commitment to an image of yourself that demands action. Here is the tactical protocol. Declare the identity before you earn it. Say and write, I am someone who does the hard thing first. Not, I'm trying to be. Not, I want to be. Present tense, active declaration. Your brain believes what it hears repeatedly from the most authoritative voice in its world, yours. Audit your social identity. Who around you benefits from your lack of discipline? Who in your circle subtly reinforces your weakness? Wolves cull the herd. You need to audit your herd. Build a body of evidence. Every small commitment kept is a vote for the new identity. 1 rep, 1 page, 1 minute of silence chosen over distraction. Stack the votes. Stay with this. The next principle is what separates people who understand discipline from people who execute it. Principle 4. Information asymmetry. Know your own intelligence. You are operating with false intelligence. In warfare, commanders who lose do not always lose because they are weaker. They lose because they have wrong information about the terrain, the enemy, and their own forces. You are doing this to yourself. You believe discipline requires enormous willpower. Wrong intelligence. You believe failure means you are broken. Wrong intelligence. You believe consistency requires perfect conditions. Catastrophically wrong intelligence. This is information asymmetry, the gap between what you think is true and what is actually true. And in the arena of personal power, that gap is lethal. Here is the real intelligence report. Willpower is a finite resource that depletes with every decision. High performers do not have more willpower. They design systems that require less of it. They reduce decision fatigue. They automate the battlefield. Failure is data, nothing more. The fox who runs into a trap does not conclude he is a bad fox. He maps the trap. He roots around it. He becomes harder to catch. Consistency does not require perfect conditions. It requires minimum viable conditions. The warrior who can only train in perfect weather will never be a warrior. Tactical application. Reduce decision points. Lay out your clothes. Prepare your workspace. Script your morning. Every decision you eliminate is willpower banked for the war that matters. Create a failure protocol. Before you start any commitment, write down, if I miss a day, I will immediately do this. Anticipate the trap. Map it in advance. Track ruthlessly. Not to punish yourself, to gather intelligence. The commander who doesn't track troop movements loses ground invisibly. You need a map of your own behavior. Now, the final principle. I told you this one was different. I told you it removes the need for willpower entirely. I meant it. Principle 5. The final strike. Make discipline structural. The most powerful disciplinary system in human history required no motivation, no inspiration, no willpower, no emotional readiness. It was architecture. The Spartans did not rely on individual warriors to wake up and feel like training. The training was the structure of their entire civilization. Remove the option. Institutionalize the behavior. The system does not care how you feel. Machiavelli observed that the princes who endured were not the most passionate. They were the most structurally protected. Walls, alliances, systems. They built conditions where failure required more effort than success. That is the principle. Make discipline the path of least resistance. Right now, your environment is configured for distraction, for comfort, for delay. Your phone is accessible. Your triggers are present. Your hard work requires fighting through 15 layers of available escape. Flip the architecture. Make starting easier than avoiding. Put your notebook on your pillow. Put your gym clothes by the door. Put the book in front of the television remote. Design friction into distraction and frictionlessness into action. Use implementation intentions. Not, I will work out more. Instead, when I wake up at 6 a.m., I will put on my shoes before I check my phone. Behavioral research is unambiguous. Specific if-then commitments outperform vague intention by a factor of 2 to 3. Build in public accountability. Tell one specific person one specific commitment with one specific deadline. Not for inspiration, for structural consequence. Wolves hunt in packs because individual accountability fails under pressure. Borrow the pack. Count to 3. Watch what happens when you imagine your life 12 months from now, if nothing changes. 1, 2, 3. That feeling? That is the cost of continued inaction. File it. Here is what you now know that most people will never act on. Your discipline problem is a systems problem masquerading as a character flaw. Your brain is running ancient software in a modern war. You made a covert contract with comfort and called it realism. You built your identity around your failure pattern and called it authenticity. You operated on wrong intelligence and called it self-awareness. And you left your environment configured for weakness and called it life. Those are 5 strategic errors, and every single one is correctable, starting today, not Monday, not next month, today. Because here is the consequence of inaction that Machiavelli would not soften for you, so I won't soften it for you either. The people around you are not standing still. They are reading, building, optimizing, training. While you negotiate with the weakest version of yourself, Others are compounding, quietly, ruthlessly, without announcing it. The gap between who you are and who you could be does not stay the same size. It grows. Every day of delay is not neutral, it is negative. It is a vote for the version of you that settles, that rationalizes, that watches rather than acts. You came to this video for a reason. Something in you recognized a problem. Honor that instinct. Here is your action contract before this video ends. 1. Identify your covert contract. Write it down tonight. 2. Redesign one structural element of your environment. 1. Not 10. 1. 3. Declare your identity out loud, right now, in whatever room you're in. Do those 3 things and you will have more strategic momentum than you've had in months. If this cracked something open for you, if this forced an honest look, subscribe. Because this channel is not about motivation, it is about the architecture of power. Every video is a blade. More sharpening comes weekly. And before you leave, drop your answer in the comments right now. Write, "I choose the hard path" below. Not as performance, not for the algorithm, as a declaration to the only person in that room who needs to hear it. You.